So, when you hear the word blockchain, your mind probably jumps straight to Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? You think of this completely open public ledger. But that's really just one flavor. What happens if you need the security that blockchain offers, but you absolutely can't have all your sensitive data out there for the world to see? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today, the surprisingly diverse world of blockchain technology. We're always told that blockchain's big superpower is its radical transparency, the idea that everyone on the network can see everything. But just stop and think about that for a second. If you're a bank, or maybe a hospital that's handling sensitive patient records, is total transparency really what you want? All of a sudden, that big feature starts to look more like a massive risk. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. That kind of vanilla public blockchain, the one that powers cryptocurrencies, it just doesn't work for everybody. And it's this fundamental tension, this push and pull between total openness and the need for security, that's precisely why the technology had to evolve into the 4 different flavors we're about to explore. Okay, first up, let's talk about the one most people already know, the public blockchain. This is the OG, the open frontier that really kicked off this whole revolution. Yeah, you could almost think of this as the digital Wild West. I mean, that's a pretty good way to picture it. The entire system is built on this foundation of just radical openness. If you've got an internet connection, you're in. You can join the network. There's no bouncer, no velvet rope. Literally no one can stop you from participating. So what this all really boils down to is a system that's designed from the ground up to be censorship-resistant and decentralized. The key word here is permissionless. That means nobody needs to give you their approval to join. And you can stay anonymous. The whole philosophy is about trusting the code itself, not some person or institution. All right, now let's just do a complete 180 and swing to the total opposite end of the spectrum. So if public blockchains are that open frontier, then private blockchains, they're more like a fortified castle, complete with a moat and a single heavily guarded gate. This is pretty much the corporate world's answer to blockchain. Forget open to everyone. A private blockchain is a closed-off, invitation-only club. There's one central authority who's the gatekeeper. They're the ones who decide who's in, who's out, and who gets to see what. And this slide really gets to the core trade-off, doesn't it? That permissionless model of a public chain gives you that incredible, powerful decentralization. But the permissioned model, that gives you what businesses so often need most: control. It's kind of like a seesaw, right? You can't maximize both at the exact same time. So you might be asking, why would a company want this walled garden? Well, it's simple: efficiency and control. I mean, with a small, trusted group of people participating, you can process transactions at lightning speed. You get the confidentiality you absolutely need for sensitive data, and you get to sidestep that massive energy drain you see with public networks like Bitcoin. Okay, but what if you're in a situation where you don't want a complete free-for-all, but you also don't want just a single entity being in charge? What if you need something kind of in the middle? Well, that's where our third flavor comes in. This is what I like to call the group project of the blockchain world, the consortium. See, it's not run by just one company. It's run by a pre-selected group of them. It's basically a members-only club where all the members agree on the rules and then they enforce them together. This 20 banks example is just a perfect way to picture it. Instead of one central authority or a million anonymous miners, the control is shared among a trusted group. No single bank can just go in and manipulate the ledger because a majority, in this case 11 of them, has to sign off on every single transaction. It's decentralization, but inside a private club. So we've got the public model, the private one, and the consortium club. But what if you need a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B? Well, that brings us to our final flavor, the one that really tries to create the perfect blend. And here it is, the hybrid, which really does aim for the best of both worlds. Imagine a system that has a private, members-only backstage area for all the sensitive internal data, but then it also has a public-facing front lobby where pretty much anyone can interact. It's all about creating these customized rules for who gets to see what and when. Looking at all 4 of these side by side like this, it really makes the core trade-offs pop. You're constantly playing this balancing act between decentralization and anonymity on one side and speed and control on the other. There's just no single right answer. Each model is optimized for a completely different purpose. And ultimately, that's it. It's not about which blockchain is best. That's just the wrong question to ask. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. If you're building a global, censorship-resistant currency, of course you need a public chain. But if you're a group of companies that are trying to manage a supply chain, well, a private or a consortium model just makes way more sense. And this is the big question to leave you with. As this technology keeps evolving, will the future of blockchain be dominated by those open, permissionless ideals of its creators? Or is it going to evolve into a collection of these efficient, controlled private networks that power global business? Honestly, the answer to that is going to shape our digital world for decades to come.